released a rather very interesting insight report that tells you exactly how much the Indiana Fever's social media engagements are actually monetarily worth, either on X or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, whatever. I mean, all these posts have a monetary value to them based on engagement.
Okay, so the Indiana Fever's social media accounts were recently valued at an incredible $55 million. And here's the thing, it's not even close to second place. Since Forbes released this article, many people have been frantically trying to come up with an explanation because these figures are accurate. While everyone was debating who is the most important player in the WNBA, the stats just arrived and put an end to the debate in the most ruthless way imaginable. The weird thing is that this Forbes article is like a bomb dropped on every single point of contention that the traditional WNBA fans have been promoting for months. The Indiana Fever's social media following is worth $55 to $4 million. No, that isn't an exaggeration or an error. When you select a player that truly makes an impact in ways this league has never witnessed before, that is what occurs.
If you are a Caitlin Clark fan, if you're an Indiana Fever fan, this is something you already know. However, for the haters out there, the old WNBA fandom, many of you call them the slows. For those fans, they're in complete denial. We've tried to tell people Caitlin Clark moves the needle unlike anybody else in this league or everybody else in this league. It just sort of is what it is. Fans are coming to see one particular player, and along with that, carries over the support to the entire team.
Let's just keep one thing in mind before someone starts claiming that this is disrespectful to other players or that we should just honor everyone equally. Here, we're discussing cold, hard numbers. This isn't just what I think. This isn't a hot take or bias. This study is valid. Over 20,000 pieces of content were tracked by STN Digital and Zoom Analytics. Throughout the season, they covered YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram X. They examine impressions, interactions, and even the cost to marketers of obtaining the same level of exposure through sponsored advertisements. And the Fever, they just won by such a huge margin that it's actually rather embarrassing for everyone else.
Worth a lot of money. They are worth a lot of money, and I can tell you right now, that's a little over 5 times higher than the next WNBA team. 5 times higher. Let's go down here. Just scroll down. The Indiana Fever's staggering $55 million social media evaluation speaks volumes.
The Dallas Wings took second place with $8.61 million. Take a moment to consider that. First and second place are separated by more than $46 million. That race isn't even competitive. To be honest, it seems like they are currently participating in an entirely different sport. The Fever are not merely in the lead. With numbers that no one else can even match, they are functioning on an entirely different level. Even though the Wings had a fantastic year with a 55% increase in engagement and a 34% increase in social value, they were completely destroyed by that disparity. It makes reasonable that the Las Vegas Aces took third place with $7.64 million. I take it that they are the dynasty team? Numerous titles and a ton of star power. Due with their location in the nation's largest media market, the New York Liberty ranked fourth at $7.50. This is where things start to become very interesting, though. At $6.35 million, the Chicago Sky came in fifth. Do you recall all those arguments over who is actually drawing more attention to the league? All those debates over effect, cultural importance, and rookies? That question was decisively addressed by the numbers, and it wasn't close. Even with a player who is expected to have an equal influence, the fact that the Sky landed in fifth tells you everything you need to know. Throughout the entire season, it was widely believed that 2 players were propelling the WNBA's expansion and attracting new supporters. However, the The social media valuation indicates that the Fever and the Sky are separated by $48.69 million. That is a significant difference. That has nothing to do with margin of error. That is an entirely different level of participation and influence. Here's what makes these figures even more bizarre. Even after the season concluded, the Fever continued to post content featuring Caitlin Clark. They just continued to provide followers with reasons to participate with their social media, maintain the flow of information, and maintain that level of engagement. That's just smart business, isn't it? You don't let up when you have someone who piques your curiosity. You continue to give the audience what they want, and you continue to ride the wave for as long as it persists. In particular, the study examined posts made during the season between May 16th and September 11th. Along with the Fever, they achieved an astounding 1.17 billion impressions and 38.73 million engagements. Indeed, that is billion with a B. To put that into perspective, that's actually more impressions than the majority of professional sports teams receive on all of their social media channels in a single year. And we're discussing the WNBA, a league that has always had trouble gaining media attention and widespread recognition. Get this now. One of the report's most bizarre statistics is that the Fever only had one YouTube video, not a campaign or series, worth more than that. The corresponding advertising value of a single piece of content was $750,000. Because it simply demonstrates how involved and active that fan following is. That is the kind of figure that drives marketing executives insane. If people aren't actually watching, sharing, discussing, and returning for more, you won't get those statistics. Really consider this. In fact, the value of just one video exceeds the total social media value of a certain WNBA club for the entire season. A single piece of Fever content is worth more than all the posts made by some franchises put together. That's not just winning, it's dominating in a way that fundamentally alters the league's future approaches to social media strategy and fan interaction. It's also crucial to comprehend the process underlying these figures. They employed a metric known as the social value metric. In essence, this determines how much advertisers would need to pay for the same exposure through sponsor media. Therefore, the value of the Fever on social media is $55 million. It implies that businesses would essentially lose out if they wanted to purchase the same quantity of impressions and interactions through traditional advertising. Instead, they are obtaining all that value naturally by publishing material that their audience actually want to see. Additionally, this totally refutes the notion that the WNBA's growth is fairly dispersed or that several players share equal responsibility for this enormous increase in popularity. You would anticipate significantly tighter numbers among the top clubs if that were the case, wouldn't you? One team, on the other hand, is 5 times better than second place. That isn't satire. The league as a whole is being carried along by a single individual who is practically bringing a complete club back to life. The Dallas Wings' enormous year-over-year rise is undoubtedly noteworthy, whether or not individuals like to acknowledge it, boosting participation by 5. And a significant portion of that is likely related to Sophie Cunningham's personality and social media presence. Because of her ability to promote herself and produce engaging material, she has been one of the most sought-after WNBA players and has secured partnerships with major companies like Arby's. However, despite their rapid expansion, their numbers are still much behind those of the Fever. That only serves to highlight the extent of Caitlin Clark's influence. For anyone who bought into the storylines that were promoted during the season, the Chicago Sky's 5th place result is likely the most startling finding in the entire study. The media frequently compared 2 players, implying that they were equally revolutionary for the league, but the social media value reveals an almost $49 million disparity. That is by no means a close competition. No one else in the league can even equal the kind of engagement and value that one guy is producing. Some will attempt to claim that the Fever's content team is superior or that they simply have a stronger social media plan. Indeed, there may be some validity to that. In order to optimize the value they were producing, STM Digital did collaborate with the Fever on a few campaigns and content strategies. Here's the problem, though. Even if you have the greatest social media team in the world, your material won't succeed if fans don't find your athletes engaging. Fans want to see Caitlin Clark content, which is why the Fever statistics are so high. Updates, highlights, behind-the-scenes videos, and anything else pertaining to her are what they desire. In actuality, supply is driven by demand rather than the other way around. This report also emphasizes the fact that star power actually matters, something the WNBA has been hesitant to fully embrace. The league has attempted to promote the egalitarian idea that everyone is as significant and deserving of equal attention, but that is simply not how sports fandom operates. Individual players are relatable to people. They purchase certain athletes' jerseys. They watch specific celebrities perform. The WNBA will truly continue to expand more quickly if it acknowledges this and centers its marketing around its best talents. When it comes to luring sponsors and negotiating partnerships, the Fever's social media presence is also a significant advantage. You have significant negotiating power when you can demonstrate to prospective sponsors that your content receives over 1 billion impressions and approximately 40 million engagements. The Fever have demonstrated that they can provide brands with access to engaged audiences on a scale that no other WNBA team can match. That instantly turns into actual income through partnerships, sponsorships, and advertising agreements. It's also important to think about how this will affect the Fever's future business choices. You will stop at nothing to keep a player pleased and on your roster when they are the source of this much social media value. You construct around them. You lend support. Because losing them would be disastrous for the franchise's financial line, you make sure they have everything they need to succeed. The Fever are no longer solely focused on victories and defeats. They are considering social value, engagement, impressions, and all the business KPIs associated with having a transcendent star. Despite being the reigning champions and having several All-Stars, the Las Vegas Aces' third-place performance demonstrates that winning by itself does not always increase social media engagement. On the court, the Aces are successful. Yes, but compared to teams with more marketable personalities, they don't produce the same amount of fan interest and content engagement. That is a crucial lesson for the championship as a whole. Banners are fantastic, but if people aren't emotionally invested in your players, they won't automatically transfer into social media value and fan engagement. Considering that the New York Liberty play in the biggest media market in the nation, their ranking of 4th is a little unexpected. You would assume that being in New York would be a huge advantage for social media engagement and growth, but geography only matters if you have players and material that people genuinely care about. Regardless of market size, the Liberty's social media ceiling is severely limited because they don't have somebody producing Caitlin Clark levels of attention, despite their competitiveness and good management. The WNBA's recent expansion isn't as evenly divided as the league wants fans to think, as this analysis actually demonstrates. There is just one obvious factor contributing to the higher levels of engagement and attention, and the statistics support this in ways that are indisputable. The Fever is 5 times more valuable on social media than second place. Billions of impressions are produced by their material. The value of individual movies can reach hundreds of thousands of dollars. These are not the figures of a league that is expanding widely. These figures represent a single team and a single player performing at a level that is entirely distinct from everyone else. This revelation is complete confirmation for supporters who have been stating this all along. The figures serve as a harsh reality check for those who contended that several players shared equal responsibility for the WNBA's expansion. This should serve as a major wake-up call for the league itself on the true source of the attention and value. If you wish, you can act as though everyone is equally important, but the statistics reveals a completely different picture. The Fever's social media success puts pressure on other teams to improve audience engagement. A significant potential is being lost if one team can provide $55 million in social value, while the others are only able to produce single digits. In order to produce engaging material that genuinely connects with fans, other franchises must take a close look at what the Fever are doing and why it works. If not, that disparity will only widen. Anyone claiming that some players should be paid more and treated better by the league would find this report to be very persuasive. It is far more difficult to defend paying someone the same as players who just generate a small portion of the interaction when you can immediately measure the value they provide to their team and the league through social media effect. Compared to other leagues, the WNBA's current compensation structure does not adequately take individual star power and marketing worth into account. However, figures like these indicate that it's possible that the projected media value model employed in this study is precisely how big companies and brands view social media return on investment. They compute the cost of that exposure through paid advertising after looking at impressions and engagements. From a commercial standpoint, it is astounding that the Fever are making $55 million in equivalent advertising value solely from organic content. In essence, that is free promotion that would require tens of millions of dollars to duplicate via conventional advertising. The figures are final and cannot be contested. There is more to Caitlin Clark's efforts than just reducing the Indiana Fever. In terms of social media value and fan interaction, she operates in an entirely different world than everyone else.